Hello, hello. The Salty Sisters are back, and this time we are bringing some friends into the mix. Running a business can be lonely, and when you're an older entrepreneur, it's also easy to get into your head about learning new skills, new tech. You may also question whether or not you can even do it based on everything you know about yourself in this lifetime. And that is when you need a solid community of friends to help you get through it, friends who get it. And and actually this isn't just about business either. Loneliness can lead to health problems. So focusing on building relationships when you're older is actually good for your health. I am here to introduce you, first of all, to my salty sister, Kat Corchado. She is the freaking fabulous Kat Corchado. Gosh, where do I start? Besides being a salty sister, she also is the host of the Sisters in Service podcast. And this particular episode, I believe, is going to be airing on Sisters in Service. So there you go. Hello, Sisters in Service family. We are going to tie all this into people getting out of the military and what do you do when you leave the military. I imagine loneliness can be an issue there as well. So Kat Corchado, besides being the host of Sisters in Service podcast, is also a movement specialist. She has a program called Small Space Pilates that has saved the butts of a lot of people who are on this screen right now. I'm just going to say Kat helps us stay healthy and keeps reminding us to keep it moving. So with that, hello, Kat.
Hello, Yvonne, and I would like to introduce my salty sister, Yvonne Marchese. Again, where do I start? She is the president of the Age Agitators Club. I can't do the look, the Age Agitators Club, like she does. She she has the Late Bloomer Living podcast. She's all about play as we grow older because we forget what that's like, and it's good for our brain. It's good for our body, and if you want to learn how to play, you should probably reach out to Yvonne. Now let's go to our panel, our people, the peoples that we brought with us. The first is Princess Kim White. Yes, she is a princess. She really is. And Kim is the fierce leader of the My Sexy Business team and community. She's fierce, she's fearless, she's all of the things, which is why we're all here, is because of her, because she curated all of us to be in a mastermind. Denise Millay is the findability queen. Yes, there's all kinds of royalty here, people. I'm just trying to tell you. The findability queen. If you are stuck on SEO, or when someone says SEO, you go la 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 la, she's the person you want to talk to. She's the person you want to connect with. She has just recently debuted her podcast, which is called SEO Day. And if you're one of those people that can't really not fathom, but you have a hard time listening for a long period of time on a podcast, Denise is that person. Small snippets of information about SEO, how to be findable. Because Denise says, if people can't find you, how can they do business with you? And last but never least, the amazing Donna Bender. Donna is the only givologist that I know. Donna is that person that when you're in business and you're looking for a gift or you're looking for something to, a pen or whatever, there's all kinds of things out there. Donna's that person you go to. If you have not been to her YouTube channel, you need to go and talk and see what she's doing in her big show, the big show. I'm sorry, the big show. And again, she has all these things that you've never thought of that could actually help your business, but also a gift that you can give. So, welcome to everyone here today. Thank you for being here.
We took last month off because of life things that were happening, and I couldn't think of a better way to come back and get back into the swing with my salty sister, Kat Corchado, than to bring in our other salty sisters, Kim and Denise and Donna. As our husbands like to say, this is our other family. And it, speaking for myself, I watch every woman on the screen in front of me. I watch them move through what they need to do for their business, what they need to do to keep their lives going on the side, and all that. And I am inspired on the regular to know that okay, Yvonne, you can do it. You can do it. Look at what Denise is doing. Look at what Donna's doing. And it keeps me going. It keeps me going because I know they're real people who have real people challenges and real people skills and real people everything, and there they are by my side holding my hand as business owners. And I thought it'd be great to get everybody together and talk about this thing that we do and how do we keep doing it.
I think, Yvonne, that when we are talking about business, everyone says, I'm going to go into business. And they do it. But they have no, what I call you guys is my lifeline. I didn't understand how important community was to my business. So I would like to pose a question to our panel, and anyone can jump in. How is community important to you and your business? I'm coming salty right out the gate, y'all.
I'll bring some salty to that cat because I can tell you all the way back in school, I wanted to belong. This was one of the things that, as a human, I wanted to be part of something that mattered. I wanted to belong in a group. I wanted to be part of something that was bigger than me. And I didn't find that. I was quite a bit older when I finally started understanding what community really was. I would see it in other people or for other people, but I recognize that not everybody's our flavor. And when you are trying to fit into a group that you don't fit into, you don't really have a chance to fit in. You don't have a chance to belong. So being an entrepreneur, we have different questions. We have different challenges than someone who's not. And I think that that's one of the biggest parts for me is building a home or a community for entrepreneurs filled a need for me first. Like I did it for others, but it actually filled a need in me because I need you all. I need your saltiness. I need your, curiosity, your playfulness, your hot messness. I need that because I fit in with that. I belong with that.
Am I the hot messness?
I was going to say, happy to provide.
Seriously, which one do you want to address? I wanted to add to that too, Kim. You created it for yourself, you said, because you needed, to be felt like you were part of something. And I always feel, I spent a gamillion years in corporate America, and I enjoyed corporate America. There's so many things I loved about being in corporate America. The difference is if you were in a sales team, there's a lot of competition. Okay. There's a lot of competition between people. And so not everybody is as eager to support and encourage and, say, run with your business, that because you're running for the company's business. It's a different mentality. And so when, the decision was to go into entrepreneurship, the first time I went, I didn't have a community, and there was nobody I could speak with. And this time, just finding this community and all of y'all like that one, it's so meaningful to me because being an entrepreneur, just like when you're working for, corporate America, you could feel, as I always say, it's very lonely at times. But to find the same minded people who want to, everybody does something different. Nobody does the same thing. And it just so happened, that way. But we all support each other and we learn from each other, and we could see when someone else is struggling with something, how to avoid it or what to do before it happens. So I love, our sense of community.
I also think that this whole journey isn't linear. It's not a straight line. It's a very jagged up and down, thing. And it's your personal uh, energy that's sustaining it. And when you're by yourself, it's harder to sustain that and to feel. And not that you need validation all the time, you just need to feel normal with other people and go, "Okay, yeah, this is a bad week. Okay, well, next week will be better, right? Tell me. Yes, it'll be better. Like I shouldn't quit now." You know? So, and everybody has those moments, and the people that tell you it's gonna take 5 to 7 years are not lying to you. It doesn't happen overnight, and I don't think anybody really believes that when you first go out to do it because you have it in your mind. You think, "I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and this, and it's gonna work." And there's
Right.
so much more to it, so much more to learn, so much to unlearn, as our favorite friend tells us. And, so it's really you need some people around you to sustain you as you go through that ride. So I think that's what community is all about.
Hey, Kat, I have a question for you. And about the unlearning, specifically because this is going to air also on Sisters in Service. For you coming out of the Air Force after 20 years and ending up and starting your own business, doing, helping people with physical training and Pilates and all that, did you have a community then?
No, absolutely not. That was probably the loneliest time for me. Is my tribe, my people were all active duty military. Everyone was in the same uniform. We all talked the same language. And I left that and went to Massachusetts where no one spoke military. No one wanted to know about my military service. And it was very lonely. And I was actually grieving my service. After 20 years of doing something, and, I kind of missed it because it was that normalcy. And it's really difficult it was difficult for me to kind of figure out what did I want to do, because day after day you're doing your thing, and all of a sudden, oh, it's time to go, and then you're thinking, okay, I'll get a job, and 9 to 5, and that just wasn't my flavor anymore. I was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. When you've done something for 20 years and you put all these resumes out there and people don't want to call you back, that's a little defeating. And so I had to make a switch, and that's what I did. I switched to doing fitness full time, and here we are.
And I think that's what led me to this question is because Denise mentioned unlearning. All of us are of an age where we have some unlearning to do, right? And when you were just talking about that experience of coming out and grieving the military, it's like you had to unlearn military speak, I'm going to guess. I seem to remember when we had Janice Baker on here on Salty Sisters, she was also previously in the military. And I remember her talking about going into a civil service job and not being able to make the adjustment easily into a non-military setting, and having to unlearn those military ways. And I think entrepreneurship in general, we all come from different backgrounds before we get to it. Maybe not Kim. Kim was born an entrepreneur.
She was.
But for the rest of us, we've all made a transition. I came from the creative end of things. Denise and Donna came from corporate. Kat, you came from military, and we'll say what I don't know what else to say about, but physical training. What's it called? Gym culture, right? You came from gym culture. And here we are trying to find our way as business owners and entrepreneurs. And it is lonely. And podcasting, speaking as a podcaster, podcasting can be lonely because you hit the button and the thing goes out there into the world. And sometimes it's crickets. You don't always get feedback. you don't know if what you're doing is landing for people or not. You hope that
Yeah.
that what you've done is making a difference for somebody, but you don't know. And I'm going to ask you guys all, you've got friends and family, right? How much did they get it, what you're trying to do? Maybe a little bit, but for the most part,
Mhm.
I don't feel like
No.
they really get it.
Mhm. I
My
think when I
peers
came out
don't.
of the Oh, I'm sorry, Denise, go ahead.
No, I said my peers don't for sure, and
Mhm.
family. My kids
Yeah.
get it, but my peers don't.
I was
Yeah, I
just
feel
gonna
like
say
John, my
that.
husband, gets it.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mean, couldn't be more supportive and with me. You know, plus he just hears about it all the time.
Yeah.
Bless
Well,
him.
he does know about our other family, by the way. But I just clarify, I think the one thing that helped me not speak military was I was teaching classes off base. And I can't speak military speak to civilians in a fitness class or yell at them like in boot camp. So I think that helped me a lot in my entrepreneurial journey. But I also feel that my husband gets it, but he doesn't get it. He's my support, he's there when I feel less than or whatever, but you guys are those people that I come to and when I can't figure something out, when I'm struggling somewhere, when I feel like I just don't want to go anywhere anymore with my business, and you guys rally, and I think that's super important. So when I think about community, a lot of people say, well, I don't know what that entails. What kind of attributes do you feel contribute to a community that's going to lift you up and keep you up, and where you can learn and be more creative and learn all those things? Are there certain attributes to a community, or a mastermind or whatever? And if so, what do you think are those attributes, if you have one that you would kindly share?
I'll jump in. This community in particular, I feel like you guys always have my back. I always feel like I'm welcome in the room. It's like what Kim was talking about, you want to belong. Um, and I also, in school, you want to belong. And I remember was it ninth grade, kind of becoming friends with a group of girls, but then I realized in short order that I didn't really feel like I belonged there,
Mm-hmm.
for a number of reasons, and I think it's almost like a gut feeling. It's like when somebody says hello to you and you can feel that they're actually excited to see you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Absolutely.
knowing that you have support, I think, is
Mm-hmm.
the attribute I look for.
I think so too. What about our panel? Do you guys have any words or phrases or anything that you would look for in a community or a mastermind in business?
My ideas are kindness, care, and respect. So,
Ooh.
everybody respects one another. There's no taking advantage. Everybody's kind. It's the old, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Not that we wouldn't, because we all really do care after all these
Yes.
years we've been together. But even when we began, there was nobody that was out solely for themselves. And we have the curator to thank for that.
Yes.
I do think as a leader of a community, as a leader, period, we have to set the tone. And if someone is not being kind, and uh, I hate to say this on a public forum, but it's the truth. There have been people that have been asked to not come back. And it's because of the gossiping they were doing behind the scenes. It's because of the judgment that was being passed. And I'm here to tell you the problem was they were insecure. That it wasn't a problem of them being just an evil person. It was insecurity. But if you can't keep that in check, you can't come in and contribute to a community that is kind. If you ask questions, if you're honest about your questions, sometimes it can feel like it's a yucky thing because somebody is asking that question. But if you're doing that on the sly and I find out, ooh, fierce is a mild term for how I feel about that. So I think that's part of it, though. I'm very fiercely protective because I know that that's contagious. I don't I don't do cliques. I don't do those little groups who are the cool kids and all the rest are not the cool kids. I think having that experience my own self through life, I just don't tolerate it. So I do think that fierce is part of a community in that way. I think kindness is like the most important thing, but being fierce about protecting that culture inside that community, I think is extremely important.
Everything they said. And I think what I was saying before, it's on a similar vein as before, when I was saying that when you can find a community of people who are your cheerleaders, they're not there to bring you down. They're not there to, cut you to the quick so they can bounce in their career. It's a totally different mindset. And I say, I love being in corporate America. There's so many benefits of being in corporate America. But I'm an entrepreneur at the present time, and I continue to feel like that's my direction. But having everybody cheer you on when you can just be the lowest of the low. And I'm going to get melty because I feel it coming on. But I just feel that that support, Yvonne talked about it. It's like, it's just very uplifting.
I think it's huge. I think one of the things that I think of is safety. Like, this is a safe place where I know that you guys know me, and where I can put something out there and you guys will give me feedback for it. And it's not mean and it's not any of those things. But I also think that sometimes when you're looking for a community, you don't know what you're looking for. And sometimes you have to bump your head, which we've all done a couple times, in finding a community and realizing this isn't it. I need something else. And it can almost turn you off, you know. And I think there has to be a level of trust and kindness, like all of you have said, of someone who protects you. And not that any of us need protecting, but I know Kim has got my back. I know Denise has my back, and Donna and Yvonne. All of you guys have my back, and that's a fierceness on another level. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, and can I add this too about the flavor part of this? Me as someone who set up a community. So if anyone has set up a community, they know how hard that can be. For me, I knew instantly from years ago and from experience, I don't want yes men around me. I don't want someone to come in and not have their own independent thinking, their own way of doing something, their own ideas. I don't want us to all be little cookie cutters all lined up on a shelf where, oh, there's that cult over there, because that's almost what it turns into sometimes. When you're looking at some communities, you're like, oh, you don't want any part of that. I love the challenge factor in our community. I don't expect you all ever to be disrespectful. Like, one of the rules in our community is you can cuss me, but not to my face. Like, it's a funny, but I do challenge you all. You all challenged me. And I think that that's an important part of knowing your flavor. I like the salty. I like the spicy of conversations. Don't just take it that way because somebody else said you should. Let's talk about why this is a good idea, or let's talk about why this is not a good idea. And to me, that was an important factor in even creating the community at all. Is I didn't want to line up a lot of people that just followed. I wanted a community of leaders. And that's exactly what our community is. They're leading their own lives, they're leading their own businesses, But what an amazing support system of leaders coming alongside each other and making it not lonely, and giving ideas, giving feedback. Feedback's a gift when it's honest, when it's with the intention of helping the person you're giving it to. So y'all just know I love this community.
You know, this, what you were talking about just there, Kim, was making me think about, you know, the safety of the space, and that comes from the fierce stewardship of that. I'm from a theater background, and when you are doing theater, when you're doing a show, you need that safe space to explore where you're going with your character, because you're not going to find it right away. You're not going to find the right moments the first time you step on stage and say those lines, especially when you've got a script in hand and everything. It's a process, you know. But if the director creates safe space for actors to explore and take risks, you know, that then leads to that, you know, if all the magic comes together, then you've got, you know, a show that can come together and serve the audience with truthful storytelling that is bold and brave and all that, you know. And that's what I think, that's what we're all trying to do in our respective businesses, is serve an audience with some boldness, with ourselves, you know, with bringing ourselves forward and taking the risk to do that, you know. Having a safe community allows me to take those risks.
I think as an entrepreneur, you have no choice but to take risks, you know, because you don't know what you don't know. And then, you know, and that's where this community comes in. So I don't want to say handy, because it's not just handy. It's just, you know, it's our community. But, you know, how much information are we bombarded with on a daily basis? Do this, do this, do this, do this, try this. You're going to get this, you know, and there's so much out there that being in a community where we can mention these things and say, yeah, but this way is so much better, or someone had done that already. You know, you don't get that as an entrepreneur if you're alone. You know, on your own, you don't get that same support or get the people that you can ask. And so I think that is another reason why, you know, the statistics about how long a business lasts and, you know, how many years and how many businesses close after the first year is, I think, because they don't have a community. They don't have other people that they can ask questions to. And I think that is a very big factor in that number.
I love that, Donna, of what everyone has just said. I want to talk a little bit about, well, not talk a little bit about, but I have another question. How does a community contribute to having a healthy work life balance? Or does it?
Oh no, if you have people around you that are saying, "You look really tired. Why aren't you sleeping?" Or "Have you learned to turn that TV off at 10 o'clock?" Or "Have you learned how to get up at 6 instead of at 8 and have a better day?" That makes it's a mirror back at you, you know, when things are not going the way you want them to, and somebody might just say, "Well, maybe you try sleeping more." You know, things like that. So you get that reflection back that helps support a better life.
Yeah, absolutely, Denise. Spot on. And you know, for over the summer, one of the reasons that Kat and I did not have a Salty Sisters live stream in August is I had some family health issues that I was attending to. And I feel like I missed you guys during that time because I felt like I had to pull away from the community to get things done and to manage logistics and to do all the things, but I knew you guys were there rooting for me in the meantime. Um, I had to step away from a lot of things in my, I'm also a photographer, so there were no photography sessions happening. It was a step back from business and into family for that time, and that's the definition of work-life balance, right? And I think if you don't have community around you to let you know, no, go take care of you and yours. And that comes first. That's okay. That it could be easy to fall into the trap of, I have to keep going. I have to manage. I have to, and get really, um, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm losing the word I'm looking for, but get really anxious maybe about stepping away when you need to. And that's it's just it. Life just happens sometimes. I knew that you guys were all in my corner yet again, even though I couldn't be on calls with you and in meetings with you and all those things, you know?
I
Can
think it helps that we have a certain person on our panel who will banish us, um, in a loving way. But I think it also helps when, you know, we all know each other, we know each other's business, but we also care about each other. And I think we've said that, but when, I'm not feeling well and Kim will reach out, or Denise or anybody here, or just randomly, when Yvonne was away, like she had family business, and I would just say, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" And checking in. And so all of these people on this panel, this stage right here, have all become not only just family, but friends. They're my friends, and I was a lone wolf for years. I was a single parent in the military. Then I met my husband, and it's hard to make friends when you're older. But I can officially call you guys, and if you don't have to raise your hand, my friends, because you are, we spend so much time together. And I think it's important not only for our business, but our personal life. I don't get anxious going, I have to miss this. I still get anxious, by the way. But I know that you guys understand, like just like what Yvonne said, when I have to step away or I have a doctor's appointment or whatever, it's not that, you've got to be here thing. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is how having a community that fits you helps you to move your business along, helps your creativity. Would you guys agree with that? That it helps to move your business forward, and it also helps you to be more creative. And I can attest to that, y'all. I'm just going to say.
Well, Kat, let me turn it back to you. How does it help you be more creative?
I think it's helped me think outside the box on things. To, when I first started, my lens was, my lens, did you get that? Was this big. Now my lens is that big old fat thing you think that they take pictures in sports, those big old cameras. But I think that it expands, all you guys know here, have heard my Canva story. When I first started Canva, I'm like, I hated Canva. I did not like it. And now I'm a huge, I want to say,
You're a Canva
supporter.
boss, baby.
And because I didn't know how to use it until
Right.
someone, no, this way, no, this way, said, "Hey, have you thought about this?" It's like, wait, do it, and it's important to me to be able to learn those things. When the first group I was with, and they said, "Oh, let's go on Canada, open this, and blah blah blah," and they go, "Okay, do this," and I was like, "Huh?" Well, and I was too intimidated
Mm.
to ask. And in this community, ask until you're clear. So that means I can ask something 20 times because it'll take 17 of them times before I realize, oh, I get it.
I love that you brought up Canva, Kat, because you are a Canva boss now, and thank you, Kim, for introducing us to Canva. Um, I am not naturally an easy tech adapter. You know, is that a word? I don't know. I don't adapt to tech naturally. Denise, out of all of us, is probably the most techie of all of us, right? But it's intimidating, I think, when you're older, when you're not native to technology the way younger entrepreneurs are. It can feel scary to take on new stuff, but to to watch you go from 0 to Canva boss over there, Kat, is like, "Oh, okay. I look at how she's doing things now." I can tell everything. It's so it's just watching you all grow is so cool. I've watched every single one of you grow in different ways as we've been working side by side. I think
I'd
I went
like
off
to
topic, but
No, I'd just like to speak to the underlying thing, though. I think when you're trying anything new and you're by yourself and don't have anyone to ask questions, it takes a lot more out of you. I think when you're in community that is supporting you, even if they don't know how to do it, it gives you courage. It actually, you can borrow courage from others around you who say, you really can do this. This is something you can master. Even if you've never opened it before, you can get there. But this is how we get there, this first step, and asking until you're clear, I think lends to confidence. I think it lends to courage. I think it lends to that part of you who, as an entrepreneur, you do have to be willing to take risks. But having it together makes it so much easier to do it.
I think I like to call it, taking risk with a safety net. You're taking a risk, but if you slip and fall, the safety net's there, and then you could try it again.
I love it.
exactly. Hey, I've got a question for you guys. How okay, let me just say, when I started the podcast as audio only because I did not want to be on camera. And then I started having to, I was like, okay, I need to get on camera because I need to promote the podcast. And if I want to reach people with the podcast, I have to get over myself. I need to do this. And so I started making reels and Instagram, and then it turned out it was actually kind of fun. Next level was going live. Doing something like this 5 years ago? Oh my gosh, no way. So I have all of you had to come to a new comfort level with putting yourselves on camera, with going live, with doing those things. And I'm just going to say a lot of it is because I hang out with you guys that I'm even going live doing things.
Well, I have to tell you, in my corporate life, we use Zoom all the time. Nobody turned their camera on. Ever, ever, ever. For years. So we had meetings that were all voice. So COVID changed that. COVID made everybody crave connection, and you just had to get over yourself because that was the way of the world. And of course, that's when I chose to start my business. So, like, what are you going to do? You're going to be the one without the camera, or you're going to be the one, trying to buck the system? It just didn't work. So, yeah, it took a little while for sure. So,
For me, I had to get over myself because I was so afraid of judgment. I am not 20. I am not cute. I am not skinny. These are world standards. They're not my standards, but they're the world's. On a magazine cover, you don't see people like me. In, high positions, unless you look really hard, you don't see people like me. And that's the thing that I kept coming back to is if I go live, if I put myself out there, I'm going to be judged. And can I really take that? And I couldn't at the time, like at the first. I had to come to terms with the fact that I literally was caring about me more than other people because I had a solution for them. And if I couldn't get over myself to give them that solution, I'd never reach the people that I was meant to serve. I'd never reach the people that were needing that solution so desperately. And here I was, you know, hiding because I didn't want someone to say, "Oh, you look ugly," or we've had comments on YouTube, "It takes you 2 hours to complete a sentence." Well, I'm from the South, y'all. Like, it, you call yourself a princess. I mean, I've had some ugly things said, but I now, when I see something like that, I don't take that personal because it's not about me. It's about how they're feeling about themselves. I am a solution. And if I don't tell the world, the people that are looking for the solution I have can't find me. And I think it's a big deal to recognize that it is bigger than me. It is bigger than coming on and looking perfect or coming on and, I am a chunky monkey. If you guys want to know, like I am, I'm sitting in my kitchen. I love to cook. I love to eat. Like, all of those things are real things that other people can connect to versus, I am always on vacation and always prim and proper. I'm that perfect, social media post, all that. I'm not. So coming on camera is admitting, hey, look, I am like you. I am not like the perfect people. And I'm still awesome. I am a sexy, sexy, sexy woman, and I'm of a certain age. But here's the thing. I have to overcome me and I heard Kat say gremlins in my head. I love that term. Had to overcome my gremlins in my head to be able to actually serve well, to be able to come on camera and to be that solution and stand up and say, you know what? I am valuable no matter what I look like, no matter what I talk like. I have a lot to offer.
Yes, you do. And I don't know anybody who's on camera more than you. You are everywhere, Kim. No, and it's so interesting that you're saying what you said before and what has transpired. And the same thing for me. I mean, when I was in corporate America, the idea of wearing a costume to get a marketing point across, it never even entered my mind. And truth be told, this was a true confession. Last year, when I was dressed as in a bunny outfit, and I'm doing a live show and tell, and I see that there are clients on there, I almost panicked. I was like, "Oh my God!" And because I didn't know what their reaction was going to be. It was favorable. They're still my client, but so you just don't know until you take that risk. And then you're in a community where others around you are going, yes, that works. Yes, you should continue to do that. Maybe not,
And what you said, Kim, hit it nail on the head for me. I had to get over myself to get on camera, to get past the fear of judgment. And quite literally, every time I press record, there's cringe factor going on. The gremlins are there. They have never gone away. And these days I'm skating around, right? And now I've got like a little lav mic that I'm experimenting with, and I'm trying to learn how to, you know, how to be a better storyteller on video. And so I'm pushing myself outside my comfort zone, and I'm skating at the skate park. And if I notice that somebody is close by and they're seeing me record myself, oh, I feel like such like a wannabe influencer. They must be thinking, oh, who does she think she is recording herself? And I've got this whole thing in the background going on as I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's too important what I want to tell people for me to let that stop me. I have a
I
message that I feel is important enough to get out there that I just have to get over myself and my cringe and my gremlins.
Great.
I get that, Yvonne. I never wanted to be on camera, not because I had a cringe factor or fear. I just didn't think it was necessary. I was like, why? And now I'm having a whole lot of fun being in front of the camera. I'm like, ooh, this is cool. I like this. So I think that, once you get old, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Seriously. I think that when people see you on camera and you're authentic, you don't get all your words out, you forget a word, you're not that perfect person. I feel as though people are like, they lean into that. And by the way, there's a whole group now on, I can't remember if it's Instagram or just social media of, they're either called Nana influencers or grandma influencers. Have you seen them? Oh, yeah, it's a big deal. So we need to get on board now. I'm just going to say.
We're already there, Kat. We're just not officially part of the group. I mean, I'm not a nana. I'm a late mom with, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for my kids to have kids yet. But we have, a couple of nanas in the group, or Mimi's, or you guys are in the club. Well,
I'm
my
not ready
goodness,
to
I'm
be
looking
called
at the
grandma.
time, ladies. How does so much time go by so quickly?
I don't know. I don't know.
Thank y'all for doing this because I think everybody needs a community. And I thank you all for putting it out into the world that it's not as scary as it seems to find that place to belong.
Does anybody do you guys want to just do some final thought wrap up, quickies, just to say, any last words?
I love that you guys did this and included us because I've had a little FOMO going, when you do your salty sisters. So it's always nice to be included, to be a salty. I
Come
appreciate that.
back.
And I appreciate everybody in our community, you guys especially, because I think I probably wouldn't be where I am without your support. So it's made a big, huge difference in my life. So I appreciate all of you.
And I would like to say thank you as well. Being live is not my favorite thing to do in the world, and but I have learned to get over that fear. But I really appreciate the fact that you included us and that you have so much to offer, and that I only wish you guys a lot of success with your salty sisters.
Oh, thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
I feel that, having a community is that safe place to land. If you're looking for a community, we've all talked about things, it's that gut instinct of, oh, I want to be there. Now, if you happen to make a mistake and it's not the community, it's not a bad thing. You leave because it's not your flavor, but you understand now what you don't want and now what you do want. So I think it's important to, bump your head a couple times, but then you find that community. I feel as though I can't speak for all of you guys, but I feel like I was lucky in finding you guys right off the bat, or maybe you found me. I can't remember which. But I want to thank all of you guys for being here today and being a part of this discussion.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming and joining us. You are our salty sisters, even if you're not here on this live stream every month with us. And speaking of every month, we will be back next month. Oh goodness, what's the date? Hang on. I jumped ahead to November. So we're going to be back on October 3rd. And I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but it's going to be salty.
And it's going to be a surprise, salty and a surprise. So, thank you to everyone for being here today. We will be back. And I'm going to say, keep it salty. Till next time. Bye, everybody.